Welcome to ESPN News coverage of the 2012 NCAA Women's College Cup, presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And our second semifinal of the night, the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Stanford Cardinal here at Torero Stadium in San Diego. The winner will face Penn State in the final on Sunday as we continue Jimmy V Week here on the ESPN networks. It's Jimmy V Week for cancer research as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. A golden goal for Penn State in the 92nd minute as they eliminate Florida State tonight. They will play for their first national championship, and it will either be the Heels or the Cardinal standing in their way. I'm Beth Mullins, along with two-time Olympic gold medalist and two-time World Cup champion Julie Foudy. And Julie, we have to take a moment here before we move on to our second semifinal to talk about the unbelievable drama in the first semifinal, with Penn State clinging to a one-goal lead late in the match. 90th minute, Florida State strikes.
And I give Brooke, number 13 from Florida State, all the credit. Off balance, and look at that ball in to Tiffany McCarty. She's got three players hanging on her, and what a finish by the goal scorer, Tiffany McCarty, to hold on and push it into overtime for Florida State.
And then 2 minutes later, Christine Nairn is going to finish it off.
And there was some controversy on this. We've been hearing from people on Twitter whether she was offsides. And you're going to see she is onside. Schmidt on the left side for Florida State, keeping her on, and Nairn in the perfect position to just tap it in. And there Penn State has their win. Whew, that was a dramatic one, too.
And it came down to the senior Christine Nairn. Very fitting. She's got them into the finals for the first time. Let's move our focus now to our second national semifinal. It's North Carolina with 20 of the first 30 NCAA championships that have been vied for. They're back in the semis again against Stanford. They won the last national championship a year ago in Atlanta, and a terrific showdown of these two powerhouse programs.
Two giants in the game, and they play very different systems. You're going to see for Stanford, they're going to play a 4-3-3, three attacking players, and pay special attention to number 9, Chioma Ubogagu, under 20 World Cup champion, dynamic, fast. And it's interesting that they play a three-front, because when you look at North Carolina, and Anson Dorrance, head coach of North Carolina, rarely switches his lineup. He's going to stay, even with the three-front of Stanford, playing in a three-back. So they'll play a 3-4-3. So that's something we'll be watching all night, as that back line literally plays even all night against a dynamic three-front for Stanford.
National semifinals, and it's the most decorated program in history, taking on the most recently decorated North Carolina, and defending national champion Stanford. Our second semifinal coming up next.
The NCAA Women's College Cup is presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up. And in part by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
Beautiful shot of downtown San Diego and the harbor, and just a short distance away, Torero Stadium here in San Diego for our second national semifinal. Anson Dorrance, 34 years at North Carolina, 20 NCAA championships. He's a Hall of Famer, former national team coach. He's seen it and done it all in NCAA soccer. This is the winningest team program in women's collegiate sports history. And his opposite tonight in his 10th year at Stanford, Paul Radcliffe, and a Stanford Cardinal club that is back to defend its national championship. They won a year ago. They are 21-1 on the season. They lost in August. They have not lost since. Down to the field now at Cat Whitehill.
Yeah, one thing about the University of North Carolina is they are definitely a storied program. They have many great female athletes that have come from here, but especially soccer players. One of those is someone like Mia Hamm, and they've retired so many jerseys, they just don't have many numbers left. So what they've done is on their left arm, you'll get a good look at it. You saw it as we went to break. Number 19, Crystal Dunn, is representing Mia Hamm with number 19, and the same with Amber Brooks, number 22. But the thing with Amber Brooks is she just won top drawer National Soccer Player of the Year. So the next time you see number 22 in North Carolina, you'll see number 22, Sydney Parlow, who's also the assistant coach at North Carolina, and number 22, Amber Brooks. So it's a neat tribute for all of the retired UNC jerseys.
Where's Catherine Reddick's jersey out there? That's what we need to know.
I
Member
know.
of the 25th anniversary team in NCAA history. There are the most Division I team titles, and it is this Carolina program. They have won 20 of the 30 NCAA national championships in this, the 31st College Cup. And for the Stanford Cardinal, trying to make some history of their own, Carolina is the only program that has won back-to-back national championships, and Stanford is 2 wins away from going back-to-back. And how about Crystal Dunn? You just saw on her wrist, go Mia. And the pride they have in trying to keep this tradition going into a 4th decade in Chapel Hill. Tar Heels in blue, Stanford in black. And for the first time in quite some time tonight, the rain has let up, but it has been raining. It's a wet pitch. We haven't seen any soggy issues or puddles to deal with, but we did see some slick soccer balls causing some problems in our first semifinal tonight. Still very mild at 64 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. In this
A
rematch.
frigid 64 in San Diego. Anything under 70, I used to say, okay, I'm not playing.
They should put the top up on the convertible. This is a rematch of the 2009 championship game won by the Tar Heels. In fact, one of the things Stanford would love to take care of tonight is a first ever program win against UNC. They are 8-0 or 0-8-3 all time against Carolina. LaBonta, number 21 in black, scored both of their goals in a come from behind win against UCLA in the quarterfinals. And Julie, just like we saw Penn State playing the 3-back in our first semi, Carolina out with the 3-back defensively as well.
And we'll get to see how they can handle the 3-front of Stanford. You're talking about a lot of production with that Stanford front line. And there is the history you talked about, and Stanford knows all too well they have never beaten this side. And the thing that always stands out to me when you talked about it earlier about this, the 20 titles, 20 NCAA championships. I mean, just an amazing history and tradition here. So much respect for what Anson and his group have done over the years.
Along that back line, Satara Murray working on LaBonta.
And anyone who has been involved in sports at any level knows that consistency and being consistently great is such a hard achievement. To be able to sustain that for that long, It's remarkable.
We have seen parity arrive over the last 10 or 12 years in the sport. More teams getting to the College Cup, more teams winning national championships, but it's still that name on the front of the jersey that can often cause problems for opponents. And the interesting thing about this Tar Heel team is this is the fewest wins they've ever had for a College Cup side. It's the most losses they've ever had for a College Cup side. And it's a back line. It's not an entitled group. It's a back line that has two walk-ons, and the keeper is a former walk-on. So it's not just superstars wearing the Tar Heel blue here this weekend. Here's Chioma Ubogagu, the player you were talking about. And Julie, when we asked her yesterday what she likes about playing a three-back, she kind of got a big old smile on her face and said, well, you know, that means there's a little more space to roam back there for us forwards.
And what happens with that three-back for North Carolina is the outside midfielders have to assume a lot of defensive responsibilities for North Carolina. They have to drop way back. That is a large field to cover, something Christine Lilly did for 4 years at North Carolina and still talks about it. I think they bring out cold sweats, this system.
Settled by Mariah Nogueira, taken away by the Heels. There is Crystal Dunn, number 19 in blue, the one to watch for the Tar Heels, trying to link it up with Kealia Ohai, the junior out of Draper, Utah. A couple of players that missed the first third of the season with the U20 national team, winning the U20 World Cup. And Chioma Ubogagu from Stanford was one of their teammates on that side. To Murray, the sophomore out of Austin, Texas. And one of those former walk-ons, Hannah Gardner. They've got two local kids, a couple of Chapel Hill natives in that back row. Lebrano with the cross. That will scoot all the way through, and a goal kick for Emily Oliver, the junior out of Flossmoor, Illinois.
Beth, going back to your comment about two of the three starting backs for North Carolina and their goalkeeper are all true walk-ons. I love that story, because how many kids think if they don't get recruited by a college, if they're not the superstar, if they're just going to go into a program, especially a program like UNC, there's so many people who will probably not even walk on. I mean, it's such a great message for kids to hear that you can make it even when others don't think you can. I love it.
The offside flag is up. In fact, the freshman Hannah Gardner, number 71, the left back for North Carolina, did not even go with the team on their first road trip of the year out to Portland, did not make the travel squad. And then after an injury, they came back to practice in Chapel Hill, and Anson Doran said, hey, you, Hannah, you go try it out. And after the first scrimmage, he said, okay, I think we're going to be all right back there.
He says Caitlin Ball next to her, the center back, and Addie Gay, the keeper, he actually tried to convince not to come to North Carolina. He goes, how about that? And now they're leading my back line.
Rachel Quon plays it back to Garciamendez. The two defenders that have been together back there for Stanford for the last 4 years. Every season they've ended up at the College Cup. Last year winning a championship together, along with Oliver, who was in goal last season.
You get an early look in these first few minutes of the type of style that North Carolina plays. They love to high pressure all over the field, which their system allows with those three forwards. They're some of the best defenders they have on the field, their three front. And it's rattling to teams. It's disruptive.
Yeah, Paul Ratcliffe told us yesterday that's going to be critical for them through the first 20 minutes or so, when things can get a bit chaotic. Number 5, Courtney Verloo. She and Ubogagu have been a terrific tandem throughout this postseason run for Stanford. Verloo, their leading scorer, recruited as a forward, and then Courtney spent some time playing defense before returning up top this year. She did not play for them last season, sat out with an injury. There she is, number 5 in black. Running on is Morris. Junior out of Tualatin, Oregon. 3 goals, a couple of assists in this tournament. Nice turn by Dunn. Flicked forward by Brooks in that 22 jersey that Cat Whitehill told us about. You know you've got some tradition when you're retiring the same jersey twice, as that number 22 will be. Morris looking far post. Headed out of there by Laura Liedle, the freshman who's back home in San Diego, attended Torrey Pines High School, about a 15-minute drive up the 5. And now on that back line, number 7 in black. Disrupted by Nogueira.
Speaking of Laura Liedle, those outside backs, she's the left back for Stanford. Those outside backs are going to be critical for them today. Similar to how Florida State plays with their 4-5-1 system. Their width comes largely from those outside backs and much of their attacking presence. They've got to get forward, and that requires being able to hold the ball to give them time to get forward, which is a tough task against the high pressure of a North Carolina.
Liedle is new to that role, the freshman, but we've been watching Rachel Quon, number 11, on the other side, do that for 4 years. She's one of the best in the country at getting forward. Into the 10th minute now. We are still looking for our first shot attempt of the evening. Ubogagu tracks back for it. Chioma, the sophomore out of Texas. Long ball. Kay will play it at her feet. A little slip. Over the touchline from Quon. Four-year starter for Stanford, one of their tri-captains. Now Ohai. Kealia trying to become the second member of her family to win a national championship. Her sister won one with USC back in 2007. Her sister Megan here tonight at the match. Here is Ohai on the ball. She'll let it fly right at Oliver. Ooh, for the second time today, we've seen a slippery soccer ball almost sneak through.
And that's something the goalkeepers are obviously going to have to be very conscious of. And if you're a striker or a midfielder, start cracking those balls from distance. It's so slippery out. The rain has stopped, but it's so wet. Ohai was one of those players at the World Cup, which was so fun to watch the U.S. win that World Cup. But she scored the game winner in the final on a Crystal Dunn assist, but just works her tail off. Such energy on both sides of the ball. And what I love to see in her is she likes to take on. She faces up and she goes at players.
They really love to try and utilize her pace, get her into some space. Off the head of Thompson. All the way back through to Emily Oliver. Tremendous presence in goal for this Cardinal team that has won 19 matches in a row, unbeaten over the course of their last 20. Just the early season loss to West Virginia in that loss column this year. Pac-12 champions once again this season. Here's Nogueira. Bends it in. And that'll get the Cardinal a corner kick.
And better patience by Stanford, holding the ball, switching the play. Verloo did a really good job of keeping that ball alive, getting on the end of it. And you're going to see Garciamendez, number 4, come up for Stanford. Mariah Nogueira.
Verloo's corner, and headed in front and cleared out by Carolina. Caitlin Ball saving the day there for the Tar Heels. Terrific redirect. I think that was Garciamendez. Summer Green. Or Nogueira may have gotten there to that back post. Well executed by Stanford on the corner kick. LaBonta looking for Verloo. Well, on Sunday, let's take a look at that corner again.
And this is something Stanford loves. They've been scoring a lot off of set pieces. Nogueira on that back post, she's so dominant in the air. 21 goals out of 59. Over a third of their goals this year scored on set pieces. And there was so much talk about losing their Herman Trophy players, the Lindsay Taylors, the Kristen Presses, the Kelly O'Haras. They're scoring 20-some goals a year. And what's interesting is this group has just produced from more players. They don't have one superstar on the team. And a lot of it is coming off these scrappy set pieces.
Yeah, they don't have that All-American striker that can produce for them the way they have in the past. Here in the 15th minute now of a scoreless national semifinal. And Caitlin Ball heading one off the line for Carolina. And now Dunn going the other way. She'll unleash one. And nice play by Oliver to keep it in. Well, on Sunday, a champion will be crowned as the women's soccer season concludes here in San Diego. The NCAA Women's College Cup presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. The national championship match Sunday afternoon at 4 Eastern on ESPNU. The winner of this one against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Winner on the Christine Nairn Golden Goal to eliminate Florida State in our first semifinal tonight. Ohai with the cross. Lebrano runs into Oliver, and she'll get flagged for that. Oliver wants a yellow card and a piece of Lebrano.
Just not happy about that one. And that's the pace of Ohai rounding that corner, and you can see Lebrano not even looking where the ball is. I can see why Oliver is upset about that one, even though it was a little nudge. Referees always are conscious of protecting the goalkeeper in those situations. I used to think not so rightfully so back in the day, but yeah. I get it, kind of.
And a reminder there from the referee to Lebrano. Hustling back to get onside was LaBonta, and oh, maybe not. Flag up on the near side.
And 15 minutes in, you're getting a glimpse of the pace of some of the players on North Carolina's team that Stanford is going to have a hard time dealing with. Ohai, number 7, who just turned the corner. Crystal Dunn, who comes out of that attacking center midfield position, which is a new one for her. She's played on all lines, in all positions except for probably this one. And she's just as dominant and as dangerous in a position she's not at all familiar with.
After the giveaway, good hustle by Morris to get back, and now it's Ubogagu into the box. Cleaned up by Dunn. There's a goal and 4 assists as Chioma in this NCAA tournament. Has linked up 4 times with Courtney Verloo. It's a team that has forged some tremendous character with a lot of close matches. You know, Stanford teams in the last few years have been so dominant. It's been a rarity that they've had to fight for games in the regular season. They've had 13 one-goal games this year. They're 12-1 in those games.
6 games where they've fallen behind. 5 of them they've come back from. They're fighters too, which is great to see. And that's an adversity they weren't tested with before because they rarely fell behind. I think that's a powerful thing to have in your pocket.
Well, and a credit to players like Garciamendez and the seniors not being satisfied with one national championship. They want one more. Gardner blasts it out. We mentioned those seniors not just because of the national championship, but how about 4 trips to the College Cup, 4 Pac-12 titles, just 3 losses in their 4-year careers.
Crazy.
And 2 of those losses in the College Cup in their freshman and sophomore seasons. The other one was that West Virginia loss in late August. Oh, nice play by Ohai, and launches one towards Oliver.
What I love about a matchup like this, when it's 2 different systems, Stanford in the 4-3-3, Carolina staying in a 3-back, even against the 3 front, it's such a chess match. Because if Stanford can dictate the ball, those outside midfielders for North Carolina are going to have to defend the whole game, and so they're not attacking. So you try and win that attacking battle.
Wear teams out by forcing them to play D. Here's Dunn. Deflected and then cleared out by Nogueira. Corner kick, Tar Heels. UNC's defense saving a goal on a set piece earlier in the half, and now Stanford's under pressure.
You can see on that back post, 71 Gardner, 22 Amber Brooks, 2 of the big targets for North Carolina. Poor service though. Doesn't even give it a chance.
Missed opportunity there for UNC. Stanford. 45-minute halves in college soccer. The clock winds down to 0. No stoppage time added. If you sub out in the first half, you cannot return until the second half. You are allowed 1 re-entry in the second 45 minutes. And if necessary, golden goal and then PKs. We already played an extra minute and 2 seconds in our first national semi. And the Christine Nairn golden goal for Penn State. Ball to Brooks, back to Murray. Over the far touchline, throw in Stanford.
Carolina's style can be so demoralizing because they just put pressure and high pressure and they keep at you, and you've got 3 players around you. And for a team like Stanford that wants to hold it and play, you have to balance that and understand it's going to be stressful.
Verloo. Quon made the overlapping run, and she's staying up top. Trying to receive service there, and Gardner sends it the other way. Watkins back to Garciamendez, who played for Mexico at the Women's World Cup. Ubogagu with Gay way out. The keeper that is prone to making some risky plays in goal, way out on that occasion.
I think Gay got a little bit fortunate there because she was stuck. She's out too far. If Chioma Ubogagu can get a touch on that, She's around her. Unable to get to it. Gay is fortunate that she didn't get caught on that one.
So a couple of scary moments defensively for Carolina in this first half. Ubogagu trying to bring it down. Nogueira. Verloo on side, and it will skid away from her and out. Well, help us beat cancer with the V Foundation, awarding 100% of direct donations going straight to cancer research. Operating expenses are paid for by an endowment fund, so all of your donations go right to trying to find the cure for cancer. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to make your donation today. Substitution for the Tar Heels, Alyssa Rich coming on at forward for Maria Lebrano. Rich, the senior out of Cincinnati. Alyssa was a substitute for that 2009 championship team. The seniors have College Cup experience, but a rarity here, Julie, for a majority of the Tar Heel players who are here for the first time in their careers, the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors.
Yeah, I said to Kat Whitehill earlier today, how many did you win while you were at North Carolina? Which is a common question with North Carolina teammates I've had.
Not
how many
just
did you
win, but how many?
Yeah, and she goes, 2. I go, is that all? I mean, you were expected to win 4. You know, the fact that they haven't played in one.
Yeah, and certainly play in all 4.
We asked them that yesterday, too, is because they have such a respect for that tradition, but does it almost become a burden, having to live up to the pressure of that tradition? And Anson said, you know, we always want to honor the tradition, but also recognize this is a different group. This is a different team. We don't want you to be like them. You know, this is your team. Which I thought was a great answer and healthy.
Well, Kat Whitehill, you bookended championships as a freshman and a senior. What's it like inside the program having to deal with that tradition and the privilege of that kind of pressure day in and day out?
Well, it's definitely a privilege, that's for sure. But when, you know, Anson talks about how he doesn't talk about the tradition, he doesn't, but you know it's there as a player. And these players know it. There's a lot to live up to. There's a big alumni presence always there. They want to make sure that they're involved because they care about the program, but at the same time, they want to keep that tradition of winning. And these players coming back here, they know that they're back where they should be, and so they're living up to a little bit more expectations, and it was hard the last couple of years for them not to be in this situation.
Yeah, in fact, Anson Dorrance told us he was using emails from alums as part of his pregame speech tonight. Ubogagu through traffic and can't get a solid crack at her.
But that's the raw talent of an Ubogagu. She's got great balance. She's got speed. She's got all the assets. It's going to be fun to watch her play over the years. They missed having her at the beginning of this year. She had 10 goals and 10 assists in her freshman year last year, 5 goals this year. She did miss the first part of the season, as we said, with the Under-20 World Cup.
For Stanford, Sydney Payne will come on for Alex Dahl. Dahl leaves the midfield, and Payne will now go up as one of the third attackers as the rain has started to fall once again here in the national semis. Rain throughout the first game tonight and now making its first appearance in our second semi.
I don't even know where I am anymore. What is this?
It's a city masquerading as San Diego, California.
Where are we? This is crazy.
Chipped in by LaBonta. Low, a big part of their come-from-behind win. You mentioned they've only trailed in 6 matches all year, but they had to come from behind to beat UCLA in the quarterfinals last weekend. And LaBonta, the sophomore out of Rancho Cucamonga, had both the tallies. Settled by Brooks. He's already collected a National Player of the Year honor this season for the Tar Heels. Now Ubogagu. Chioma has looked like the most dangerous player on the pitch so far tonight.
And if she has space, look out. And that's where that 3-back is going to be dangerous, because she is going to eat it up at times if they give her a little bit of space. A nice move. You can hear the crowd every time she touches the ball.
Dunn with a burst, playing one wide. Bowen and the freshman Liedle trying to take her out. The cross cleared by Nogueira. Right back in front. Nogueira took one off the belly. Stays on her feet and gets it out of the area. Brooks heads it forward. Four shots for the Tar Heels, 3 for Stanford so far tonight.
You know, looking at Crystal down there, one of the things that is so refreshing with her is she has such a willingness to play on all the different lines. We've talked about how well she does on each line, but she smiles at all the opportunities. When Anson said, hey, what do you think of attacking center mid? She's like, all right, whatever. Whatever I can do to help the team. I mean, that's such a nice thing for, I think, young kids to see and to hear, because that versatility is huge for a team.
Big reason why they are here. The junior out of Rockville Center, Maryland, a golden goal in their quarterfinal win against BYU to send them into the College Cup. Through ball to Ubogagu. Gay got there first.
Oh, and I think that's a nice ball. Quon playing her little 1 and 2 touch, and Ubogagu just holds up there. I'm not sure why. She could have gotten a touch, I think, similar to when Gay came out so far a few minutes ago. Get in there, draw the foul, because that keeper's going to clip you.
Good service there from Verloo, too. We've talked about those two linking up well in the postseason, as the rain has now turned torrential here at Torero Stadium. Oh, fancy footwork from Dunn. Dunn through a couple of defenders. She'll let it go, and the slow roller right at Oliver.
And what a night that's going to be for the two defensive holding central midfielders. Nogueira there, and you also see Watkins. Both of them are going to have their hands full with her pace, and she's going to want to go right at those two center backs of Stanford, because they think they win that pace matchup.
Third save of the half for Oliver. Ohai trying to run by Thompson, denied. Into the 31st minute now. Winner to face Penn State on Sunday for the national championship. The Nittany Lions are there for the first time. Foul called on Payne. Cross. Deflected out, and a goal kick. Well, the NCAA Men's College Cup presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car gets underway next Friday in Alabama. That'll be on ESPNU at 5 and 7:30 Eastern. Also available on the Watch ESPN app. Indiana beat the North Carolina men tonight 1-0 in the quarterfinals. So Indiana advancing to the College Cup at the expense of the Tar Heels. Paige Nielsen has come into the lineup for North Carolina, number 24. And a tough one for the Tar Heel men. That loss at home, the first they've had there since 2010.
They've been so dominant as well.
So we know now with North Carolina's men's team out, we'll be crowning a new national champion on the men's side. Will we be crowning a new one on the women's side? Not if Stanford can help it. Ubogagu again getting behind ball and illegally. Offside flag up. That Ubogagu disagrees. 5th offside on Stanford, and always an interesting stat to look at with this 3-back arrangement for the Tar Heels.
You're seeing number 93 came in for North Carolina at left midfield, Brooke Elby, and she's going to spend a lot of time. She was already all the way on that back line defending.
Dunn. Her cross goes all the way through, and I think the Tar Heel on the opposite side was offside.
And as this rain keeps coming, I keep going back to the fact we've seen Ohai do it a few times for North Carolina. She just hasn't gotten a hold of the ball. Start cranking those shots, finding that service, and then having forwards and midfielders crash in there, because that ball's going to pop, it's going to skip.
Stanford with 3 shots here in this first half. 6 now for Carolina. 35th minute now. Liedle, an all Pac-12 freshman team selection. Didn't play on her high school team, which is becoming more of the norm. Players will just play club soccer throughout their high school years. But of course, she is a Southern Californian, so she did play, I don't know if play is the right term, but she was on the surf team at Torrey Pines High here in San Diego. Nogueira bringing it down.
It's a huge debate, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they continue to fire those long balls at the back row to see what they can do. Quon out wide. First touch deserted it. All the way out to Thompson. She'll strike it back in. Dunn with an opportunity here. Rich plays it wide. Good help defense coming from Garciamendez.
And the few times on that left side that UNC has had the opportunity to face up and take on Garciamendez or Thompson, doing an excellent job of just nipping it right away.
It was interesting too, Julie, to hear Garciamendez very frank when we talked to them the other day. She said she thought there was almost more pressure on them to repeat than there was to break through and win that first championship last year. Just because they expect now to bring home the trophy.
Yeah, interesting as well, because the expectations for this year's team, having graduated, such stars as Noyola and Cami Levin, Lindsay Taylor. I mean, the expectations were lower.
Gay, way off the line, had to hustle back to make the save, and a terrific thought there by LaBonta to try and get behind the keeper.
And what great recognition by LaBonta, because she sees how far Gay is off her line and knows if I can hit this quick. I love that. Oh, almost pulls it off.
That's twice that Gay has come all the way out of the penalty box in this first half and has almost been burned twice. Back to Gay, who has to keep it at her feet on the back pass. Good high pressure here by Stanford. Well, the NCAA Women's College Cup continues with the national championship match coming your way Sunday afternoon at 4 Eastern on ESPNU. For more tournament coverage and information, log on to ncaa.com, your home for all 89 NCAA championships. Get all the latest updates on the men's soccer tournament, their College Cup next weekend in Alabama, as well as the women's volleyball championships, which are underway. Their semis and finals in 2 weeks' time at the Yum Center in Louisville. Stanford, the overall 2 seed in that tournament, behind top-seeded Penn State. Liedle trying to keep it in play.
You're seeing though the outside backs for Stanford. Quon on this right side, Liedle on that left side, having some success now. Stanford holding the ball, weathering the high pressure of North Carolina. But you get down to this last 5-minute mark. We used to call it the Big Five on the national team. So many goals scored. End of a half, end of a game, beginning of a half in those first 5.
LaBonta. Well, interestingly enough, these big 5 minutes here for Carolina, they do not have Brooks or Dunn in the game. They have both been subbed out. Or check that, Brooks has. Dunn is still out there. And here she is with the ball and some friends running with her. Dunn draws 3 defenders. Gets it back. And an unassuming ball to Oliver on the near post.
And that's the matchup UNC wants, though. They want Dunn running at those center backs. Madeline Thompson did well to step forward, slow down her pace.
40th minute, first half, national semis, Stanford in black, Carolina in blue. Here's Ubogagu unleashing. And Gay takes it off the short hop. Well, you can see just from her face having to deal with the rain that continues to pelt down and is starting to make the goal mouth a bit messier. Cut back by Watkins and then turns it over.
That middle of the field is turning into a big mush pot.
Jettisoned out of play by Stanford. Thompson coming up for it. Crystal Dunn. Quon intercepts. Payne back to Quon. Flank defender making the push forward. Dispossessed. Carolina trying the long ball. 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. No stoppage time added in college soccer.
The Quon dispossession was a crunching tackle by 93 Brooke Elby from UNC. She's still hobbling along there.
Our matter coming up at halftime here on our ESPNU halftime report. We'll hear from the coaches in today's matchup. Julie Foudy chatting with David Beckham, and a recap of that thrilling first semifinal. Florida State equalizing in the 90th minute, and then Penn State winning in the 92nd with a golden goal from Christine Nairn, who was onside by inches for the game winner. fifth-year senior out of Skillman, New Jersey. And goal tonight for the Tar Heels. They've had 3 different keepers in goal this year. And actually were platooning through the first 9 or 10 games this season before settling on Adelaide Gay. At the request of the senior leaders on this Carolina team. They have another outstanding keeper in Bree Eberlin, the freshman, who actually came on and played and was in goal for the PKs last weekend in their quarterfinal win against BYU.
Starting goalie for the under-20 Women's World Cup team. Still just a freshman, though.
Stanford, Verloo turns. Dunn brings it down, gets it right back. Foot race. Thompson back to Oliver. Fifth minute. Dunn with some time. Out wide. Tar Heels in the box. Cross blocked.
Dunn's balance on the ball is so fun to watch. She can cut. What she does by dribbling in that attacking central midfield position is she draws 3-4 defenders you just saw out wide. A Carolina player standing wide open in Katie Bowen.
LaBonta. Nice ball, and Adelaide Gay sliding in to make the play. As the final seconds tick away in the first half, scoreless in the national semifinals, Stanford and North Carolina. 45 minutes to decide who will play Penn State for the national championship on Sunday afternoon. And down to the field, and Cat Whitehill's got Paul Ratcliffe.
Coach, I kept hearing you say keep it simple, keep it simple. What kind of adjustments in the second half to help keep it simple?
Well, I think, obviously Carolina brings great pressure, and we need to keep the ball, get 3 or 4 passes, and then find the width in the final third, because I do think there are openings there.
And it seemed a little bit more of a direct play, but that was working a little bit over the top if you stayed onside a bit. What kind of adjustments will you make to keep your players onside to try and, get that direct play working even more?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. They play such a high line. You have to play direct because there isn't much space, but we've got to weight the balls into the corners, and then we've got to make sure we hold our line and watch the offside line and then get in behind them.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kat. 5 offsides for Stanford in that first half. We'll see how they can change things up in the second. They had a couple of very good chances to drive one home, but we stay scoreless at halftime.
After 6 seasons here in the U.S., throngs of attention, one MLS title and possibly another tomorrow, David Beckham has announced his playing days with the LA Galaxy are officially over. But the 37-year-old is not ready to hang up his boots. Him and the family have one more adventure that await them, and an MLS ownership in a franchise may be part of that picture. I had a chance to sit down with David Beckham and talk about his time in LA.
When I came here 6 years ago, I said that I was committed to being an ambassador for this game, for this country and for this league. That's never going to change.
You had always played in leagues that were global brands, and then you come to MLS and you are the global brand. How different was that experience?
It was definitely different, but I knew that coming here was always going to be a challenge. And I knew that it was going to be a challenge that I was going to enjoy, because the moment I stepped foot on US soil, the moment that I met my teammates, I knew that I'd made the right decision.
You announced a 2-year deal with the Galaxy in January. Why did you decide not to pursue that second year?
I must admit, at the end of last season, walking off the field, I thought maybe this is the time. Playing a final, winning a final in our own stadium in my last year of my contract kind of felt the right time to just step away. But then I took a couple of weeks and I thought, do you know what? I'm not ready to step away yet. I'm not ready to stop playing yet for the Galaxy. And I felt that I had another year in me.
David Beckham, there is nobody else better in the world who does it quite like he does.
So I just feel that I've achieved everything that I can achieve with the Galaxy on the field. I feel it's the right time.
I know you've been quiet on what's next, but what area of the world entices you the most to play in?
I honestly don't know yet. You know, I feel very honoured that at 37 years old I'm still having the kind of interest that I've had. It's kind of amazed me.
What is it about LA that's so special?
I think there's many special parts of LA that we've come to love and enjoy. You know, the moment we arrived here in the US, we kind of got accepted as one of your own, and that meant a lot to us as a family, because when you're a family that has moved from a different country over the other side of the world, and you get accepted straight away, that has meant, you know, the world to us. We've had an amazing 6 years here in LA, and I don't think we'll ever leave here full time. You know, this will always be part of our lives. It'll always be regarded as our home.
How's your surfing coming along, by the way?
I've never tried because I've never been allowed.
What?
I boogie boarded. I boogie boarded last year with my son. So we rented a house in Malibu for 2 months last summer, and it was actually one of our best summers. The boys were surfing every day, and we were boogie boarding, and it was cold, but it was amazing.
And you can watch David Beckham play in his last game for the LA Galaxy tomorrow. MLS Cup 2012, a rematch of last year's 2 finalists, the Houston Dynamo and the LA Galaxy. You can catch it on ESPN, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's MLS Cup 2012.
The NCAA Women's College Cup is brought to you by the Capital One Cup, recognizing the best in men's and women's college sports. The Capital One Cup Fan Fest Tourney Town here in San Diego, and Brandy Chastain, the Capital One Cup ambassador, on hand. Capital One annually awards $400,000 in scholarship money, and the Capital One Cup trophy goes to the best NCAA Division I men's and women's athletic programs.
Doing her bicycle kicks, of course.
Look at, she still wants to be a forward, wants to be a striker. Brandy Chastain in town here in San Diego, as are all the eyes of soccer fans around the country for the Women's College Cup. Penn State is into the championship match for the first time in school history. A memorable golden goal win in our first semifinal tonight over Penn State. They await the winner of our second matchup, North Carolina and Stanford. We are scoreless at halftime. Beth Bowens along with Julie Foudy, and how about the thrilling finish to that first semifinal tonight?
My goodness. In the closing minutes, here's the first goal, actually. Maya Hayes getting Penn State up early. And then you're going to see Florida State never dying, pressing, pushing numbers. Grubka here, number 13. She's got two players hanging off her, and what a ball in to the one and only Tiffany McCarty, her 17th goal on the year, and what a finish that one is in the 90th minute. So it goes into overtime. All the momentum seems to be on the side of Florida State, but instead Penn State comes back, and you're going to see there was a lot of talk on Twitter about whether this was offsides. Let's circle Narn here. Sorry, there she is. And we're also, she's the goal scorer, going to put a circle over Schmidt. And you can see she was onside, and Penn State with the victory 1 minute into golden goal time.
Fourth trip to the College Cup for Penn State, their first trip since 2005, and they are into the national championship game on Sunday afternoon for the first time. And what a job they did to make the comeback after almost giving it away in the final minute of regulation, and they are now into the national championship match.
Because all the momentum seemed to be with Florida State. In the dying moments of a game, they come back, and yet it was so impressive to see immediately. You had Maddie Evans, one of their captains, come together, bring the team together. Erica Walsh, their coach, and they said, we're fine. I mean, that leadership in that moment makes such a huge difference.
How about the second national semi here? Scoreless at the half. What's going to be the key in this second half?
I think for Stanford is that final third. They're getting some possession. You can see, similar to what Penn State was doing in the first game, they're having trouble in that final third. I'd love to see Ubogagu going at players, her speed, her athleticism, get the ball to her more. And then on the flip side with North Carolina, they're going to have to start getting more people forward, because right now their two outside midfielders are acting as defenders.
Great storyline playing out in the final 45 minutes. North Carolina winners of 20 of the 30 NCAA national championships, but Stanford won it last year, trying to make it 2 in a row and pull off their first win ever against the Tar Heels. 45 minutes to go. Welcome back to ESPN News coverage of the 2012 NCAA Women's College Cup presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Semifinal action, 45 minutes to go for a spot in the national championship game. It's North Carolina and Stanford. As we continue Jimmy V Week for cancer research on ESPN, our commitment to the V Foundation and supporting Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Down to the field, Kat Whitehill with Anson Dorrance.
Thanks, Coach. It seemed like it was just the front three that were attacking. There wasn't a lot from anywhere else. Did you make any adjustments or say anything to the team to kind of get more players into the box and in the attack?
Well, honestly, with a quality team like Stanford, we're not going to throw, the kitchen sink in their box and then wait for the counterattack. We think we can effectively attack with three. I thought Crystal Dunn did a pretty good job getting forward, getting some shots off. So we have one midfielder that's pretty committed to the attack. But, I think we've got some great 1v1 artists. They're going to have to solve this for us. Crystal Dunn will join them, but we're not going to throw everyone forward at this point.
How much does this field affect your team at all? It's pretty much just complete mud out there at this point.
I think it's difficult for both teams. Our goalkeeper was complaining that on her goal kick she was slipping, and so the range of her kicks isn't as great. She asked our kids to front their players because she wasn't confident in it. So I think this certainly affects us, but I know it also affects Stanford. So I think we're both dealing with the weather issue out here.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Beth.
Thank you, Catherine. Anson Dorrance talking about that attacking three with 7 shots, 4 of them on goal for Carolina, 5 shots for Stanford, 4 on goal for them. He singled out Crystal Dunn and Kealia Ohai as a couple of attacking personalities. What do you want to see more of from Summer Green out there for the Tar Heels?
Yeah, that's a player we didn't talk about much first half, and she's another huge attacking personality. Here she is putting pressure on the ball. Number 6 for North Carolina. Under 17 Women's World Cup star. Had 3 hat tricks for the U.S. team in the Under 7 World Cup qualifying campaign. 2 goals over at the Under 17 World Cup. Exciting, dynamic player who had a quiet first half. But Anson's right. You've got enough personality on that front line.
Ubogagou's cross over the head of Verloo, sneaking in the back door, LaBonta. Who had a couple of goals in the in the quarters, looking for another one there.
Meg Morris showing that she can clean someone quite cleanly, actually. Didn't get called for that. It was just a good tackle, but a hard one.
Well played ball, and Adelaide Gay is there. Well, Stanford, as you talked about in the first half, Julie, very good on set pieces on a night like tonight. Even though the rain has stopped right now, they had a couple of good chances off of set pieces in that first half. See if they can get some more here in the second. Doesn't look like either side making any major changes coming out of the locker room. Brooks re-entering. Here she is, number 22 in blue, and whistled tripping up Laura Liedle. Alina Garciamendez, the senior out of Fairview, Texas, and a member of the Mexican national team, standing over this free kick. Off the bounce, Ubogagu running on, and across the goal face as Gay ushered it out.
And with these fields, this should never bounce like it does, but you just never know what's going to happen when it's so messy. And Ubogagu just doesn't get anything on it, mishits it. But she's in. That's the encouraging sign for Stanford. And she's been in a few times tonight.
Foul against the Cardinal, coming in winners of 19 matches in a row against a Tar Heel team that has been a bunch of streak busters so far in the NCAA tournament and their road to the College Cup. First round win against Radford. They ended a 17-match winning streak. against Baylor in the 3rd round, a 20-match unbeaten streak, and then against BYU in the quarters, they halted a 21-match unbeaten streak. Trying to end the run for the Cardinal here tonight. Dunn with the cross, out of play. Two-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year, wearing Mia Hamm's old number from college. Spent the first part of the season with the U20 World Cup team, playing really out of her natural position as an attacking midfielder here tonight, number 19 in blue. And has what appears to be a bright future, not only for the Tar Heels, but for USA Soccer as well. Nice cutback move to the inside by Courtney Verloo.
There's Meg Morris again, but that's your outside left midfielder now, constantly having to cover. So, and Carolina's gonna have to get it done, because with their option to play with that 3-back, they're gonna have to get it done with their 3-front. And Dunn.
Into the area, and Gay cannot keep it in play off the head of Summer Green. Corner kick. And another chance perhaps here. Mariah Nogueira almost scored on a corner with a header in the first half. Number 20 in black lurking on the far post. They will send it her way again. Cleared out by Carolina, sent right back in, and chipped over the top of the crossbar. And the offside flag was up.
And Thompson just trying to place it right back in, get something, keep it alive. LaBonta sneaking in, but Carolina, give them credit. They all came out, and they all came out together, which is hard to do on those. You leave gaps sometimes in that back line.
And it is a back 3 of a couple of walk-ons. They've got 2 sophomores and a freshman in the back. After an early season injury to Megan Brigman, took her out of play. And foul called on Nogueira. Juliana Duncan telling her to bring it down a notch. Cross in front, handled by Albert.
And there's the pace of Ohai again, turning that corner on Rachel Quon, who's got a lot of pace herself.
LaBonta, Watkins, Morris is there. Lebrano. Ohai trying to turn. Thompson awaits. Senior out of Corvallis, Oregon, had an assist in their semifinal win last year against Florida State. En route to the national championship. Verloo now pushing forward for the Cardinal. Boy, they just can't catch their breath. Taken away by Dunn. In front, Ohai! Through the legs of Lebrano as Nogueira came sliding back to get a piece of it. LaBonta heads it out.
And with Dunn, there's always that lurking danger. She's so dynamic, so dangerous. You give her a sniff, she's going to get in herself or find someone.
A shot off the crossbar! After Stanford wanted a handball, An absolute rocket for the Tar Heels.
What a beauty that is. And Emily Oliver just getting her fingertips on it.
Hard to see the number of who let it fly. And Oliver just enough of it. That was Lebrano. And now the corner kick for the Tar Heels. Cleared out by Nogueira. Off the ricochet. Green's shot deflected down and out. Another corner kick. The freshman out of Milford, Michigan, Summer Green, their leading scorer. 7 goals, 7 assists on the year. And the corner, the deflection and out. Looks like the deflection bothered Amber Brooks just enough on the receiving end.
And a bit of shift in momentum here. North Carolina getting some good looks suddenly. Crystal Dunn springing free, getting a little bit of space.
Into the 55th minute. Winner moves on to face Penn State on Sunday afternoon for the national championship. Liedle for Nogueira. Quon, a little chip shot into space. Gardner. Now Verloo. Ball over to help out. Chapel Hill East High teammates back there for the Tar Heels. This is Bowen. Lebrano. Tar Heels getting numbers forward. Too much pace on the pass. And the throw-in. Ohai and Quon toe-to-toe. Ohai! Nice cross. Oliver able to handle it off a bounce. I don't think Lebrano was able to get a boot up.
Well done by Ohai again. She's just trying to get something. She gets a little window. And Lebrano at that near post. So often you see those balls come across with no one crashing. She's at that near post, just unable to get something on it. And that's a good hold by Emily Oliver, because those are tough.
Opportunities mounting for North Carolina early in this second half. They have kept the ball for the most part on this side of the field in their attacking third. Clearance doesn't get out of the zone. Bowen with a handful of Cardinal jersey and the whistle. Well, the NCAA Women's College Cup continues with our national championship match coming your way on Sunday at 4 Eastern on ESPNU. For more information on the tournament, log on to NCAA.com. It's your home for all 89 NCAA championships. Beth Mullins, Julie Foudy, Kat Whitehill with you at Torero Stadium in San Diego. Penn State into the finals with a golden goal from Christine Nairn in the 92nd minute earlier tonight to beat Florida State 2-1. Alex Dahl checking into the game for Stanford. You can re-enter once in the second half in college soccer.
And as the momentum has turned towards North Carolina, you see the people that are leading it are their stars. And they have, on this field, more star power, I think, in terms of players that can take over a game individually in a Summer Green, although we haven't seen as much of her tonight. Crystal Dunn.
Got some room.
So I think those players, the Dunns, the Ohais, and that's what Carolina has always had. They've had that capability.
That gentleman right there, Anson Dorrance, has the Tar Heels in the semifinals for the 26th time in 31 years. They've got 20 national championships. They've never lost to Stanford. The Cardinal trying to get that first win to get back to the championship game, which they won last year, beating the Duke Blue Devils for the first championship in school history. It's a little twist. You usually don't see this, but it's actually the Stanford side that has more College Cup experience on the field than the Carolina side does, having been here 5 years in a row. The College Cup, all this senior class knows about in their career. Unable to get it out of there. The Cardinal bringing some high heat, and the takeaway, Ubogagu. Good hustle from Rachel Quon. She'll get it back. Sydney Payne from distance and off the ricochet. Gay had to change course.
And that's not so easy, changing course in this mud, because look at that box. That box is just a mess. And that's why you say again, crank them from the outsides in this weather.
Start peppering the goalkeepers. The rain has tapered off here in the second half after it rained through a lot of that first half of play. Morris' shot off the mark. And some substitutions for Carolina. Brooke Elby will come on, as will Alyssa Rich. Lebrano and Morris off for the time being. They can re-enter. 61st minute. Scoreless in the national semis.
I think for Stanford, you're seeing, look at their front line. Two of them are dropping into the midfield territory a lot. And you're seeing that a lot. That's a good angle of it. LaBonta is your highest player right now. Sorry, Chioma is there. I think for them in this last 30 minutes, they're going to have to take some chances, push those three high, apply some pressure.
There's Summer Green with the takeaway. She'll go from distance. And that might have been one of those moments, Julie, where they actually had numbers and probably could have put together something a bit better.
She's not. She was trying to catch Emily Oliver off her line, but she's just not going to beat her from there.
There's more high pressure from Carolina. They'll force the turnover. On a quick restart. Ohai double teamed. Trying to find Dunn and cleared out of there. Ubogagu going back to get her. And all the way down to Caitlin Ball, and that'll give us an opportunity to tell you about the Elite 89 presented to the student athlete with the highest GPA of any of the participating student athletes here at the College Cup. And it is Caitlin Ball, the sophomore at the University of North Carolina, their central defender, with a 3.9 GPA in journalism and mass communications, the winner of the Elite 89 award here at the 2012 Women's College Cup.
How beautiful is that? The pure walk-on that Anson tried to convince not to come to North Carolina because he didn't think she'd have a chance.
She is
not only is she holding down his defense, she's a 3.9 grade point average. I love that story. Gosh, if kids could hear that all over.
She's number 2 in blue in the back for Carolina. Grew up in Chapel Hill. Spent part of her youth as a ball girl at Carolina games at Fetzer Field. was going to North Carolina regardless of whether or not she got a scholarship or could play soccer. And both her high school coach and her club coach pestered Anson Dorrance, and he finally said, you know what, if they both love her that much, she might have something we better take a look at. So Caitlin Ball showed up last year and started practice, and Dorrance was like, I don't think so. And a month later, she's in the starting lineup.
And he says, I've been so impressed, and I was so wrong.
I think that's a big reason, Julie, why his program has had so much success over the years. He's willing to take chances. He's always learning about the game that he already knows so much about. Ohai looking for some room. Tries to chip it over Oliver. But this year he has borrowed things from both the French women's national team and the Korean men's national team in terms of fitness, and on occasion even changing shape and leaving the three back to rest some of his players.
I said, I don't even know you anymore. Who are you? When he said that. Switching out of the 3-4-3 is sacrilegious. He said, I just do it to rest players. I don't really believe in it.
But you see that, though, in all the great coaches, a willingness to steal good things from other coaches and other teams and put them to good use.
Borrow, steal.
'65th minute now in the national semifinals.
You got 25 minutes, and you're looking at Stanford, and lost a little bit of their possession, lost a little bit of their way, looking a little bit fatigued. Can they grab it back? Nogueira in that middle of the park, LaBonta in front of her. Two players that are key to getting a hold of it again.
They've only mustered a couple of shots in this second half thus far, as just a spritz of a rain has started again here in San Diego. Oliver has been called upon to make a couple of big saves here in this second half to keep the sheet clean as the jersey continues to get dirtier. Verloo outpaced the runner. Alex Dahl. More subs coming on. The Tar Heels will send 3 sets of fresh legs out. Again, all these players coming off can re-enter. There's Renee Premji, the senior from Canada, up in Calgary in the Canadian national team pool. Dunn will come off briefly to catch her breath. Ubogagu will do the same. I can't imagine either would be out for very long. Get it back and give it away. This is what Carolina can do with a deep bench.
Yeah, and their style of play with that high pressure, it's just asking too much to ask a player to do it for 90 minutes. They have to come off and give them a breather. And this is the kind of battle that North Carolina wants to create. They love the field is messy. They love that Stanford's going to be uncomfortable.
Tar Heels survived penalty kicks in the 3rd round, double overtime in the quarters. And for Stanford, they have survived a pair of 1-goal wins in the postseason. They've been thriving in these types of situations all year long. And what Alina Garciamendez has called character building wins, those 1-goal victories. to the College Cup for the Card. A couple of shutouts over Idaho State and Denver. Nail biters with Santa Clara and UCLA. Good cutback. Elby trying to find some space, instead runs into Nogueira. Quon. And a far, looking for some room, back to Carolina.
Beth, I don't mean to upset all our Southern California viewers, but it is official. Stanford's going to the Rose Bowl. You mentioned UCLA, and I thought I probably should bring that up.
Cardinal were winners earlier tonight at home in the Pac-12 championship. I think,
so to all my neighbors, please put your USC and UCLA flags away, because I'm tired of them.
And that'll be the end of that. Shot right at Oliver. She's got it. Well, the Tar Heels trying to avoid what could be a real rough night. The men's soccer team knocked out of the NCAA tournament tonight. Their women's volleyball team knocked out of the NCAA tournament tonight. Trying to avoid a similar fate. The Cardinal women's volleyball team, one of the favorites to win the title this year. They are the 2 seed playing this evening.
This game for like the last 15 minutes has just been kind of slogging along, and you get the sense with 20 left that something's going to break. They're going to make these substitutions.
Rachel Quon with the free kick, trying to loft it into the area. Coming back down to LaBonta. In traffic, Verloo gets the shot away. Off frame. Who's got that magic moment in them? Could it be Chioma Ubogagu? She returns after a brief stay on the sideline. How did they celebrate their national championship last year? Ubogagu told us they spent the early morning hours at the Waffle House. Smothered and covered.
They said it's the worst decision we ever made.
And they'd love to do it all over again. Trying to get a second national championship to go with the one they got last year in Kennesaw, Georgia. Garciamendez, such a tremendous cleaner in central defense over the course of her 4-year career.
And for someone like Garciamendez, who's so good on being a target on set pieces, and Stanford for how good they've been on set pieces, that's something they're going to be conscious of in these final 20.
Paige Nielsen plays it into the area. Rich trying to run on. Goal kick, Cardinal.
Especially when a field is like this and you can't play pretty, you can't string the passes together like you hope. You fight for those set pieces and start sending numbers.
Sydney Payne checks back in. Well, the NCAA Men's College Cup presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car begins on Friday on ESPNU, so that'll be a week from tonight at 5 and 7:30 Eastern with the semifinals. The NCAA Men's College Cup Friday night on ESPNU, also on the Watch ESPN app. We're down in Birmingham, Alabama. Indiana eliminating the defending national champion Tar Heels earlier tonight. Here's an opportunity for Courtney Verloo. She's got Payne in front. Ubogagu trying to find some room. Unable to pull the trigger quick enough.
She's got to pull that. Got to pull it earlier. When you get a look like that, she's going to want that one back. She'll know that as well. Sometimes you think, if I could just get another half step here, another touch.
You want that perfect look, but as you've alluded to, on an imperfect night weather-wise, you may not need it. Just get something on frame. Let's check the last effort from Ubogagu.
Here's Verloo swinging it across, and how fortuitous is this? It lands at your feet. That's like an apple waiting. Crank that one. Get it on frame.
And McFarlane trying to get it back in front. Murray unable to settle. She'll switch fields over to Gardner.
And there's a good wide look of how deep Stanford is. I think a couple of those players, they got to get those forwards forward. They've dropped into a 4-5-1 instead of staying in that 4-3-3. You got 15 minutes to create something.
And Julie, all 20 field players are on this side of the pitch right now. And the pass behind Rich. And Oliver able to gobble it up.
Is when your forwards start dropping, then the midfield starts dropping, and you keep just getting into this deeper bunker.
Garciamendez dummies it through. And back to the keeper. Cardinal trying to regroup. It's been a second half played predominantly in their end. Out of play and a what do you call a group of Rams? Is that a gaggle or a flock, or it's an entire whole unit of substitutions coming on from Carolina? Holy smokes.
15 minutes and he says, all right, to his A team.
Get the starters back in there.
Get my slingers in there and get it done.
All well rested. Will it make a difference here in the final 15? Penn State awaits in the finals on Sunday. Over the top to Verloo. Courtney finding space to get the cross towards Ubogagu, cleared out by Caitlin Ball. Watkins tried to slice it through to Ubogagu. Good thought. Too many Tar Heels en route. Nice chip wide. And that'll be a goal kick for Adelaide Gay.
Even if Sydney Payne does get to that ball, there's only one Stanford player even in the box there. Again, I just think too deep. For both teams, there's going to have to be something or someone that says, all right, we need to change the tempo of this. There has to be an urgency. You have 13 minutes left.
Off target from Payne. Inching closer to the 78th minute now in a scoreless national semifinal. Dunn. Crystal Dunn. Little shake and bake and the takedown, and a free kick coming up for Carolina. The creative flair of Crystal Dunn.
And the attacking ability. I love that she wants to take on from that attacking central midfield position. It draws defenders, draws fouls.
The rain has subsided, but a foggy haze now starting to descend on the field that Emily Oliver will have to deal with on the free kick. Summer Green gonna send it in, and the one hopper handled by Oliver.
And I just think you got to do more with that. You have a great opportunity there. They only had about 3 people lined up in the middle of that box. Send some numbers in there. Drive it in there because it's going to bounce. Try and get that deflection.
Ubogagu. Nielsen Dorrance on the sideline urging his players to shoot it. And try and pepper Oliver a little bit more. Right on the edge of the box. Able to throw it back out. The near side referee was right there, looking straight across the field, and Oliver apparently stayed inside.
Here's another look at it. And the thing is, I don't think Emily Oliver has to be. Whoa, she's walking that line. I think she's okay.
Heady play by Oliver into the 80th minute now in the semis.
Realized at the last moment, goodness, I'm out of my safe haven here.
Elby coming on. Meg Morris will depart. Elby wants to try and provide a little more speed down that sideline. Dunn. Elby's got some room out there, and Quon able to break it up.
Again, I get the sense that Dunn is going to break this game open.
Crystal Dunn has had a flair for the dramatic. A game-winning goal for the Tar Heels in that BYU matchup. The golden goal in the second overtime. She's got 5 goals in the NCAA tournament in their first 4 games. Number 19 there in blue. Or perhaps will it be Courtney Verloo for Stanford? 6 goals in the last 8 games for the Cardinal. Bowen. Off the ricochet in front. Tar Heel player down in the penalty box. And a whistle to stop play. Maria Lobrano. Let's take a look again at that play that Oliver made right at the edge of the box.
You can see she catches herself out, tries to come back in. Her feet look to be okay.
But the arm is extended out with the ball across the line. Let's check in right now with Kat Whitehill down on the field.
Yeah, when I first saw the replay, I thought, well, her arms look like they're out, and they definitely look like they're outside the box. So I went to the 4th official and I said, if her body is in the box, her arms are out, what is that? What call should that have been? And he said it's definitely a handball. It doesn't matter where your body is; it matters where the ball is.
Wow.
And so, very interesting, no call from the referee.
And it certainly appeared that the ball was outside of the penalty area on that replay. Terrific job by our crew to blow that up for us. I'm going to break there for Stanford. Under 8.5 to play.
Huge break. Free kick right there with these conditions.
Courtney Verloo. Back to LaBonta. Now Watkins. Payne. Here comes Liedle up from the back. Actually bent in the air, away from Murray, back to LaBonta. Does better with that one. Ubogagu leaves it off for Paige. She'll send one towards the post. Gay down to get it. '83rd minute.
Good sequence by Stanford and started off from Liedle, left back position. Sydney Payne just trying to bend that one around. Does well to keep it on frame, just not enough pace on it.
Payne again running it. Murray getting by her in the shot. Gay got a fingertip on it to push it wide. Quon, I think they're going to give her a goal kick there. It looked like she redirected the shot.
Yeah, we're going to see if that's the case. Sydney Payne facing up, taking her on. You love that initiative. Here's a better angle of it. Looks like she got a little bit on it, but hard to tell.
So perhaps both keepers with a break going their way here in the late stages. '84th minute. Short of a goal, we would go to 2 10-minute overtimes. Golden goal. We've already had one of those tonight. Christine Nairn for Penn State in the 92nd minute to knock out Florida State. Elby. Crystal Dunn. She'll turn and fire, blocked by Watkins. Tar Heels trying to send it right back in. Instead it's Quon and now Garciamendez. Looking for somewhere to go with it, turns it over. Ping pong match going on in midfield, and now Ubogagu comes out with it. Garciamendez looking for Payne. Murray over there. Got her hip into that one. And then Garciamendez is tripped up. Free kick coming up for Stanford. 4.5 to go.
Similar positioning to what UNC had earlier on their free kick. And they skipped it right at the goalkeeper. Can Stanford take advantage of this opportunity?
Rachel Quon, the senior, will take it. Chipping it towards Garciamendez, knotted out by Carolina. Nogueira and Ohai. Tar Heels get possession. Quickly over to it is Liedle.
Interesting, North Carolina there chose not to hold their line a little bit higher. Usually you hold it at the 18-yard box. They dropped, which creates some problems for a goalkeeper, and Stanford unable to capitalize.
You can help us beat cancer with the V Foundation, awarding 100% of direct donations to fund cancer research. All the operating expenses are paid for by an endowment fund. So log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to make your donation. 87th minute. Scoreless Stanford and North Carolina. The winner to play Penn State on Sunday for the national championship. Bowen. Play on, says Juliana Duncan. This is Brooks. Haven't had many chances to say her name tonight. And a North Carolina player is down. Katie Bowen, the freshman from New Zealand. And in college soccer, they stop the clock for injuries. There is no stoppage time, so the clock stopped here for the injury.
And here's the Katie Bowen injury.
May have hit the back of her head down hard on the field.
Liedle and Nogueira both coming in on that one.
Grimacing pretty good there on the ground. Sometimes, too, when you land, that ponytail can make things hurt even more if you hit it right on the knot.
And I think really Liedle should be called for that. You see her come across with her hand. I don't think it was any bad intention, but she comes in high with that hand across her, which gets her off balance.
Clock stopped here with 2 minutes, 48 seconds to play. Otherwise, we go overtime and golden goal. There's the athletic training staff out there for the Tar Heels. The freshman from New Zealand. She's wearing that number 15 jersey that Christine Lilly once wore with the Tar Heels. Up to a sitting position. Freshman from New Zealand with the national team. She was one of their alternates for the Olympics in London over the summer. That's their starting right midfielder who will come off. And then they will hustle her right back in.
This looks like she got a little whiplash the way she's moving that.
And the sportsmanlike play there from Stanford will allow Bowen to get back on. Flag is up on Stanford. I think Ubogagu may have been a step slow to get back on side. Under 2.5 to play in regulation. Bowen tees it up and sends it out.
Wouldn't have that been something if she came right back on the field and cranked one in the upper corner. 2 minutes left, and I'm just not seeing a sense of urgency from either side. It's strange, actually. The tempo really hasn't changed much. You know, contrast that with that final minutes with all that Florida State was down.
Yeah.
Penn State, Florida State, they were down a goal. A different desperation.
Let's check in right now with Kat Whitehill. What'd you hear down there, Kat?
Yeah, well, I heard Coach Paul Ratcliffe talking to his team, telling them to do some long-range shots and follow up on it. They really want to wreak a little bit of havoc on the goal mouth in Adelaide Gay and all how slippery this field is. So they were talking about taking long-range shots and making sure that there's more runners in the box to follow up on it.
Thank you very much, Kat. 1:20 now to go. No stoppage time added on in college soccer. Green tried to play it back for Dunn. Blasted out of there. Caitlin Ball, Ubogagu trying to bring some pressure. Final minute of regulation. Handball against Carolina.
There they are trying to get some numbers forward, and this is when it doesn't turn pretty. You just go, launch it in there.
We saw a goal in the 90th minute in our first semifinal. Garciamendez looking for another one here. Carolina will have none of it. Alina will throw it in. Off the head of Verloo. She's still got it. Courtney Verloo. LaBonta, Watkins, good touches. Rachel Quon. Looking for the pass instead of the shot. And we will head to overtime for the second time tonight. And it's golden goal in the national semifinals.
After 90 minutes, there are 4 remaining. North Carolina 0, Stanford 0.
Bonus soccer coming your way here in San Diego. A couple of 10-minute overtimes, but the first overtime game tonight lasted 1 minute and 2 seconds before Penn State won it. And now it's Carolina and the Cardinal headed to OT for a spot in the final.
The NCAA Women's College Cup is presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up.
You're watching ESPNU's coverage of the 2012 NCAA Women's College Cup presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. For the second time tonight, golden goal in the semifinals. Penn State and Christine Nairn got the game winner in the 92nd minute earlier tonight against Florida State. And an OT that just lasted over a minute before it was over. And now Carolina and Stanford scoreless through 90 minutes. And we're going extra again. And how about that goal from earlier tonight after Florida State tied it in the 90th minute, the golden goal for Nairn.
You would think all the momentum was in Florida State's favor, and instead, there's Nairn onside on that back post, just there to tap it in. What composure to not try and hammer it, just to redirect it.
And we heard just a moment ago down in that Carolina huddle, Anson Dorrance telling his team, hey, get a shot on goal here. Somebody's got a chance to be a hero. Who's it going to be?
Well, and I think your hero is Crystal Dunn. I think the challenge for University of North Carolina is getting her the ball in better positions. She's having to fight for the ball all over the field and then work around 7 players to get to the goal. So I think getting her the ball, because she is your game changer. There's no question. She can change the game. She's proven that. 5 goals, all 5 of them coming when she's been in this attacking central midfield position.
And how about for Stanford? Is it somehow relate to Ubogagu?
I think it's Ubogagu for sure, and you can see the potential in her as well. She can be a game changer, very similar style. has to find the ball better, though, and pose herself a little bit more.
Carolina in overtime for the third game in a row. They beat Baylor in PKs. They beat BYU in the second OT. Golden goal in the quarters to get here. First extra session of the postseason for Stanford. One strike ends it. If not, we'll play a couple of 10-minute OTs and then go to penalty kicks. Stanford in black, the defending champs. Carolina in blue, the 20-time national champs. One about to move on to the finals. Rachel Quon with the long ball over the touch. Both sides have had a multitude of substitutions throughout the match, so I don't think fitness will necessarily be an issue in terms of running out of gas. On what has been a rainy but very pleasant evening temperature-wise here in San Diego. Off the giveaway, Lebrano trying to thread it through. Ends up with Liedle in the back. The youngster for Stanford who grew up just a short distance away, went to Torrey Pines High School up in northern San Diego. About 20 minutes away from home, trying to help her side get to the finals. There is Dunn, number 19 in blue that Julie alluded to. Morris able to bring it down. All the way through and out the other side. Watkins. Stanford trying to break out with Ubogagu. A nice burst up the flank. Chioma Ubogagu looking for some help coming in the middle. Nice spin to try and get to the end line. And off the ricochet, Brooks sends it out.
When you have as much pace as Ubogagu does, this used to happen to me all the time.
Yeah.
I was having a flashback there. That's why I'm laughing.
Not your pace, but pace.
Not my
blowing
pace.
By you?
Yeah, you can't catch them in midfield. You're like, wait for me. And that's what happened to the Stanford midfield. No one was with her. She looked up. She's like, yo, where is everyone?
The launch.
I used to say, I'm coming. Wait.
Would that have been a long-distance phone call for you?
Yes. So I still at my own penalty box. And you see her, she looks up, she's waiting. She even tries to buy time with this great spin move. And then finally you see the numbers come behind her.
Well, not just some tense moments for the attackers, but how about the position the keepers are in right now? Adelaide Gay, the fifth-year senior at North Carolina. Emily Oliver, the junior, who won the national championship with the Cardinal last year. Actually got injured in the final, and Allie Gleason was on the pitch as the final seconds ticked off in that victory over Duke in the championship match last year. Oh, nice shoulder shake there by Dunn. But again, trying to take on 2 or 3 at a time.
Allie Gleason, who almost won a national title with the Stanford rugby team as well. How about that for a two-sport athlete? I don't hear about that much anymore. Stanford has 2 of them. Hannah Farr as well, lacrosse player.
Lacrosse making its way out west from the East Coast. 95th minute here in our first overtime session. Dunn Nice cut to the outside. Crystal Dunn playing it back in front. Carolina's got a chance. Brooke saved by Oliver, punching it over the top. The best opportunity of the night. And Oliver sends it out.
And you can see Amber Brooks clapping her hands. And look at the power of Crystal Dunn. She beats one player, and look at how the defense collapses on her. 3 come to her. She slips it. She has the recognition. And a nice save by Emily Oliver. And what a little threaded pass that was to just sneak it in there. Amber Brooks puts that just a little bit to either side. She has a chance, but she hits it right at the keeper.
8th save of the night and the biggest so far for Oliver. Not good service on the corner there for the Tar Heels.
Another great thing for kids to watch in this, and that attacking central midfielder that takes it on the dribble and how it just causes chaos for defenses. Crystal does it so naturally in a position that is not at all natural for her, but that's why she's so effective. We don't have, I think, in my opinion, enough players and coaches that tell players to do that.
Clock winding down from 10-0 here in this first overtime. If we don't get a goal, we'll play 10 more. If we didn't get one then, we'd go to penalty kicks. Alex Dow coming on for LaBonta. Play it back to Gay. Dunn. Turns it over. Elby comes on for Morris for North Carolina. These substitutions here, by the way, in this first overtime, they can re-enter in the second OT if we were to get there. Gay again coming outside of the area to use her boot. Bowen able to get to it. And the Tar Heels trying to clamp down. Dunn. Chance again for the Tar Heels. Blocked by Quon. Carolina, Bianca Gray getting some extended minutes in the second half in the OT. Under 2 minutes, this is Murray. Throw in Carolina. Garciamendez takes it away.
2 center backs for Stanford, Garciamendez and Thompson. They anticipate so well. Always a step ahead of the play. Good positioning.
Final minute of this first overtime. Gray brings it down, surrounded by Stanford defenders. Watkins. Back to Gay as the rain has started to fall once again. Oh, back to Watkins. Ubogagu lurking, and Caitlin Ball over the end line. Corner kick for Stanford. If they can hustle, there won't be any time added. They've got to beat the clock.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Popped up in the air, and that'll do it for the first OT. Teams will take a short break. Keepers will switch ends, and we will start the second 10-minute OT and another golden goal overtime. And the best scoring chance really of the day for North Carolina coming just a few moments ago off the foot of Amber Brooks, and a huge save for Oliver.
And a nice ball in by Crystal Dunn. And trying, you can see the intention in it. She's just trying to bend it into that corner. And Emily Oliver, good positioning. Pushes it over the bar. Really not as difficult a save as it should be for something, for a player with that much time. Amber Brooks will look at that and go, oh, there's a golden opportunity there.
Boy, I like Oliver in that huddle. She's a cheerleader.
That's for a bit, so Kelly, you're in. Chris, how you want to go?
He's asking Crystal Dunn if she wants to go. No, Coach, I'd like to sit out this final overtime. What do you mean? Do I want to go? Come on, Anson.
I think was that a rhetorical question?
What?
Yeah, Coach, I want to go. And she will go.
I don't know. Let me think about it for a sec. All right. I love when you can snoop in on their huddles.
We love it even more when there's no salty language involved in those huddles as we go to another golden goal session. Who's going to step up to be the hero? Emily Oliver has made some big plays in goal, as has Adelaide Gay.
And as a player, when you get to these final 10 minutes, you're thinking this risk versus reward dilemma because of the golden goal situation. How many players do you send? How much risk do you take? You don't want to expose yourself, but at the same time, do you really want it to go into penalty kicks and leave it up to that type of chance?
Carolina in blue, Stanford in black. Much of the possession in that first OT played in the North Carolina attacking zone. Their forwards have played fewer minutes. Payne with the nice run, trying to get by Murray. Sydney Payne with the cross. Brought down by Dahl and then booted forward by Gardner. Green looking for Ohai. We haven't said much of her name in this second half. She was very active in the first, and now here she is with a chance. Ohai trying to get one by. Near post save. Back out to Green. Misses. Oliver hugging that post and making another save.
Two things I like on this. The first touch by Ohai. She takes it inside. She tries to cut off a little bit of that angle. Could have probably cut it a little bit more. And then Emily Oliver's positioning perfectly on that near post. I mean, how big is it in these big moments to have a keeper that you know is going to keep you in the game? This is why these four teams are here. The four keepers they bring are excellent keepers.
And Oliver, a big reason why Stanford shut out both of their opponents last year at the College Cup en route to the national championship. Clean sheets for both keepers tonight with 8 minutes to go in the second overtime. And if neither side finds the back of the net, we've got PKs. Winner takes on Penn State Sunday afternoon. Nittany Lions will be playing for their first national championship. Crystal Dunn. Green running with Bowen. Green cuts it back inside. Summer Green looking for some room. Leaves it off for Dunn. Dunn will go. Save Oliver. Good run by Summer Green. Seven minutes to play. Ubogagu. Alex Dahl looking for Quon. Adelaide Gay. Bit risky. Substitution for Carolina will get Amber Brooks back into the game. Watkins. Tar Heels beat BYU in the quarters with a goal with 4 minutes left in overtime. A chance here, and it's over! The golden goal in the 105th minute from Kealia Ohai ends it, and the Tar Heels are into the final. One in overtime or PKs for Carolina.
And this is what having two superstar players who can take over a game does to you. Look at here, Crystal Dunn. Look at this move here. She keeps her balance and then has the presence of mind to slip that ball. And Ohai, without much of an angle, Emily Oliver cutting it off, still finds that corner. Good positioning by Oliver, but what a nice finish that is. But starts with Crystal Dunn. She bounces off a defender. She keeps her balance. She slips it. And there you have it. The two players we talked about early on who we knew were going to turn this game. And that is the difference for so many years for North Carolina right there.
Her older sister Megan won a national championship with USC in 2007. And now her kid sister will have a chance to go for one on Sunday afternoon. 1-0. North Carolina eliminates the defending champion Stanford Cardinal, ending their 20-match unbeaten streak. And a date with Penn State for the national championship. Both winning on golden goals in the semifinals to advance. And what a memorable semifinal night at the College Cup here in San Diego. Extra sessions necessary and both well worth it. Kat Whitehoe with the Carolina Hero.
We definitely have the Carolina Hero. Talk a little bit about that goal, your runs, and the connection with Crystal Dunn.
Yeah, me and Chris have a connection. We've had it for a long time, and right before I went in the second overtime, Anson looked at me and said, you have to step up and make the big time play. And that's really what it comes down to. And right before I hit it, I just said, I have to finish this. This is on me. And perfect ball by Crystal. Great goalie. It just went my way today.
When you hear a coach like Anson telling you that, does it scare you or just makes you ready to go?
it makes me ready to go. I mean, Crystal has carried us through this whole tournament, and so it was someone else's turn to pick it up. I mean, she scored in every single game, and she had a great assist, and hearing that from Anson, it's an honor, honestly, and I'm really excited.
We talked a little bit about how we hadn't said your name in the whole second half, and as a forward, that's kind of what you have to go through, but one touch and you score. Yeah. Talk about the patience.
Yeah, it takes a while, and that's something that I've learned to deal with. I can't get frustrated, and it's like Anson always says, if you get stopped 10 times, all you need is one time. And so I think for me, not being frustrated and just keeping with it helped me to finish that.
All right, thanks so much. Good luck in the final. Back to you, Beth.
Thank you, Kat. A terrific threaded pass on the assist from Crystal Dunn. And Ohai true on the finish. And the second game in a row with a golden goal victory for North Carolina. They are into the finals for the 24th time, seeking a 21st NCAA championship. And we'll be back here for the final at 4 Eastern on Sunday. Carolina and Penn State. For Julie and Kat, I'm Beth. Good night, San Diego.